Hello and welcome back to Rise's Webinar Wednesdays. We are kicking off a series of technical SEO webinars, and today we're going to get into all things Google Search Console and indexation. So if you own a website, you're a digital marketer, you're an SEO, or own a business and want to learn more on how to rank higher on Google, definitely follow us on our series. And today we're kicking off with technical SEO, jumping into, as I mentioned, Google Search Console and SEO. Now, before we jump into it, let's do a quick round of introductions. My name is Ben Lund. I'm the founder of Rise Marketing Group, and joining me is Jill, who leads all of our SEO. But Jill, why don't you say hello and maybe talk a little bit about what you do here at Rise Marketing Group?
Sure. I'm Jill. I am an SEO lead for Rise Marketing. I work on a lot of SEO strategy involving content, some technical SEO, as well as link building and other things for off-page SEO as well.
Awesome. Yep, Jill does all things SEO, has been with us for several years and does a lot of great things for all of our clients, and including Rise. And now we're really focused on sharing all the expertise that we've gained over the years. So let's just jump right into it. Google Search Console and indexation. Now, Jill, as we kick things off, what is indexing a page or a website?
So pages that are indexable are pages that can be crawled by Google. This allows Google to analyze your content and the meaning of that page. When Google is able to crawl pages, they're allowed to appear in Google's search results or Google's search index. Not all pages can be indexed. So ones that have a robot.txt rule or a no index tag on the page, you won't be able to see in search results. So you'll be blocking Google's bots from being able to crawl those pages.
Cool. And is it required to index something to show on Google?
It's not required, and sometimes you may not even want to index all of your pages. Important pages that you'll want users from Google to arrive onto your website first on those pages, those are ones that you'll definitely want to have indexed. But there's also some instances where you wouldn't want pages indexed. So some of those are duplicate pages. There may be instances where you have duplicate pages or pages with multiple variations. So similar pages, but maybe one piece of information is different on those pages because it's geared towards a different audience. Those pages would be considered duplicate content, which can actually harm your SEO. So you'll want to avoid indexing all of those pages and set a canonical URL instead. Another instance is pages with thin content. So sometimes pages don't have too much content, but they are important to have on the site. Those may not be the pages that you want your users to arrive on first, as it doesn't have a lot of context within the page that they can find value off of. Another example is thank you pages or confirmation pages. If someone fills out a form on your website, it may redirect them to a thank you page. You wouldn't want anyone from Google arriving on that page first, as it would have no value to them. Same with any login pages. You wouldn't want anything not meant for public access to be indexed. So for e-commerce, this one example could be a checkout section of the site. You wouldn't want that indexed where they're putting in their card information or anything. And then lastly, just category or tag pages. So if you have a blog section on your site, you may have some organizational categories or some tags that help filter out some of the blogs. Since your main blog page and all of your blogs are likely to be indexed, you wouldn't want to have the category or tag pages indexed too. That'll just not really be of value, and it'll also be a bit of duplicate content as well.
Yeah, great examples. Because a lot of folks, when they have a website, they're just like, okay, let Google access everything. And actually, there are pages that you definitely don't want to have access to because it could have a lot of sensitive information, or if it's not going to help you from an SEO perspective, prevent, in this case, Google. And also, if you have great content, but for whatever reason, Google isn't able to access this, make sure that you formally request indexation. So great. Thanks for sharing that. And for anyone who's listening, feel free to drop any comments in, and we'll do our best on try to answer those. So we talked about indexation. let's move on to Google Search Console, which I know you can request indexation from Google Search Console. So high level, what is Google Search Console?
It's a great tool. It's especially great for organic performance monitoring and for SEO strategies. It allows you to monitor essentially how Google views your site and also troubleshooting anything that's impacting your site's presence within Google's organic search results. So, for example, if you can't see one of your main important pages on in Google search results, that may be something where you look into Google Search Console and you'll be able to see what issue is preventing that page from being indexed. There's a lot of great tools in there, mostly geared towards organic, such as Core Web Vitals, performance, things like that.
Yeah, and Google Search Console. I mean, this is one of the first places that I go to check every day. I just love it. There's just so much great information, and the best part, outside of the information that it shares, it's free. It's not a paid platform. There's a lot of great tools out there like SEMrush, which we also subscribe to. But yeah, it's free. So let's jump into Google Search Console a little bit more. What are some of the tools available?
So some of those tools that you see on there, Core Web Vitals, that measures how user-friendly your website is. So that has a lot to do with loading performance, interactivity, visual stability. These are all key metrics that determine the health of your site and how users are able to access it. Performance, you'll be able to see a big dashboard in Google Search Console that's great for monitoring organic performance specifically. You'll see trend lines for impressions, clicks, site click-through rate, and average position. You can filter the data for specific dates or specific pages or search queries. So it really lets you see a lot of how users are coming from Google into your site. And you'll be able to monitor any SEO strategies that you're implementing there. Yep. And then for indexing, you can also request indexing. So pages that you made changes to recently or new pages, you can ask Google to recrawl those pages or prioritize recrawling them. And another thing is troubleshooting pages that aren't getting indexed. That's another great use of that tool. And then lastly is just sitemaps. You can submit your sitemap to Google straight through Google Search Console. So this allows your sitemap to appear in search results and helps Google navigate your site, find pages, videos, and images.
Awesome. So many tools available, and I personally love the performance because we implement so many SEO strategies on behalf of our clients, and you can log into Google Search Console every day or every week, whatever you want to take a look at, and then you can see, are my strategies that I outlined working well for our clients? And if so, keep on doing what you're doing, or maybe if it not, maybe make some adjustments, but it's really fun. And I think even within the performance report, the one I really love is just to see the search queries that you're mapping to and your average position. Always fun to see. Jill, I don't know if you have a favorite report that you like within Google Search Console.
Like you mentioned, the search queries are great. They can also help you find high-performing keywords, which are just going to drive a lot of the content that you're targeting. It's also interesting to see what queries and what pages are bringing in most of your users from Google. So it's all very insightful as the performance dashboard.
Super insightful. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of other great third-party tools, but the key difference with Google Search Console, one, it's free, but two, it comes directly from Google, so it doesn't have to rely on web scrapers that give really good directional data. This is data that's coming right from Google. So setting up Google Search Console, is it difficult, and what's the process in doing so?
It's pretty easy to set up Google Search Console. You don't need a lot to set it up. Essentially, there's two options. You'll just have to choose the property type, so either domain or URL prefix to set this up. Each one has its own requirements for verifying it, but it only takes a matter of minutes once you're in the back end of your site to be able to set up that verification in Google Search Console. And then from there, it takes up to 48 hours for you to see some metrics within the Google Search Console dashboard. The earlier you set it up to, the more data you may see over time, depending on the property type that you set it up with.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good tip. Anyone who has a website or building one, day one or week one, set up Google Search Console, because from that moment and onwards, you're going to collect a lot of really good data. And as Jill mentioned, pretty straightforward to set up. Just have a Google account and go to Google Search Console and follow the steps and pick between domain or the URL prefix. Anything else on setting up?
And one more thing for setting up is that there are some instances where you can have multiple Google Search Console dashboards set up. This comes up in a few different ways. So sometimes you'll see a business that has had their Google Search Console set up by someone who no longer works for the company. If you set it up through a domain property type, you'll be able to find any hidden Google Search Console dashboards that you might not know about. You'll be able to see the users and permissions in there, and you'll be able to even remove properties if you need to. You can also set them up intentionally. So if you want to see total website organic performance, you may set up the domain property type Google Search Console dashboard, but you may also want to see just organic performance for a specific subdomain. So that's when you'd set up a separate Google Search Console dashboard. They won't impact each other. You can actually use them interchangeably, and they won't interfere with any of the data between them.
Awesome, cool, super helpful. And this is just an example performance report that we're showing. This is always fun. You can highlight clicks and impressions, color coded over time. Obviously, you always want to see up and to the right. That's what we always strive for. But you can overlay different scenarios, average position, click-through rate, and then even compare certain moments month over month, week over week, or if your business is seasonal, maybe year over year, just to take out any aspect of seasonality in this. So let's, another very common question that I get, Jill, and I know you probably get this all the time, is what's the difference between Google Search Console and GA4?
So Google Search Console is focusing more on search-related traffic. GA4 focuses on user behavior and engagement. For Google Search Console, you'll mainly use this for organic traffic. The performance dashboard in Google Search Console, that will only have organic traffic in it. So you won't be able to see any sort of traffic coming from paid ads. In GA4, that's where you'll want to look for paid ads data. So things like user sessions and conversions on those paid ads, you'll want to see in there. Google Search Console just basically shows you how Google sees your website. If you want to see how users across mediums are engaging with your website, that's when you would use GA4 instead.
Yep. Yeah, and really every business, every website should have both of them set up. GA4 is another great free platform. These are all free. You don't have to pay anything, no monthly subscriptions or anything like that. And and just think of it, Google Search Console, that is your reporting just for Google search and how you're ranking for certain keywords, as well as pages on your website. GA4, this should be like your main reporting analytics for your website. That's going to give data and insights across all your traffic. Where are they coming from? What are they doing on your website? And even just kind of a quick side note for anyone who needs help setting up Google Analytics because it is a little bit more challenging than Google Search Console, feel free to check out our website and then contact us. Happy to advise on that. And our link is right below just for this banner real quick, because it can take some time, especially when you want to set up different conversion events and some proper measurement there. But enough on Google Search Console. But yeah, this is super helpful on the key differences between the two. But the main takeaway, set it up and then you'll have the data. And what we usually like to do is set up tracking. The data is going to let you know what's working and what's not working. We can't forget about Bing, can we, Jill?
Definitely not.
So just like Google, Bing has Webmaster tools. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Bing Webmaster Tools is very similar to Google Search Console. You'll be able to see in both of them kind of the same thing. So you'll see even on the side there some of very similar options like search performance to Google Search Console. The only difference is that in Google Search Console, you won't be able to see users coming from Bing. In Bing, Webmaster Tools, that's where you'll be able to see that data. So if some of your users, if you notice in Google Analytics, are coming from Bing and then some coming from Google Search Console, it might be good to set up both dashboards. They are both free and great options for making sure that you can track your users coming from both search engines.
Yep. Yeah, and for whatever reason, the traffic and how you're ranking on Bing can definitely be very different from Google, and that might even be an optimization play too. You might say, wow, I'm getting a lot of traffic from this page on Bing, but Google's not really acknowledging it too much. Maybe optimize it more to get more Bing traffic, or take a look at Google Search Console. Maybe you need to request indexation or things like that. But first, start off with Google, because that is definitely the lion's share of search. But Bing has been gaining ground over the past year with the advent of ChatGPT and all the innovations that they're doing, which we've even seen an increase in search activity. Jill, as we wrap up on this session of Google Search Console as well as indexation, is there any other kind of takeaways or tips that folks should consider on these topics?
If you are looking for more resources, we do have a few blogs that cover these topics. I think everything was mostly covered for in here, but it's great. Yeah, great tools for SEO strategy. Definitely recommend setting it up so you can monitor your organic performance.
Yeah. And if anyone does need help, feel free to contact us. Again, my name is Ben. Ben at RiseMKG is my email. We can consult, see how we can support. Take a look at our website on the banner below. We do have, as Jill mentioned, we have a ton of unique content that we wrote. Jill actually wrote a fair amount of this content on our website. If you go under a blog and search under search engine optimization, a lot of really great, helpful tools. And then for those who are listening, we're going to have another webinar in under 2 weeks, and we're going to have 4 total, all just covering technical SEO. So if you liked this video, feel free to continue to come back to the channels that you found us, whether it be YouTube or LinkedIn Live. And if anyone wants to make sure that they receive notifications of all of our webinars that we're putting forth, just drop us a quick email. We'll be sure that you're on our distribution. But Jill, I really do appreciate your time and putting and sharing all this helpful knowledge. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out.